Years ago, I'd mentioned on a social post or something, I talked about some of the healing that I experienced, and others were started asking me about it. How did you do that? And I was talking about physical things, mind body healing. And at that time, I said, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I've been doing it all my life. And it was kind of surprising coming from me because I was a person who's gone through so many different medical things since the time I was born. I was born with things that were not quite right, and so I didn't understand any of it. But I kept healing, and I kept coming to a different understanding about it all. I would study Louise Hay's books. Many of you might know of that. You Can Heal Your Life, where she kind of put together all the different ailments that might be related to something internally, something emotionally, something mentally, whatever it might have been. I used to look at that. I didn't think it was me, however. I didn't know I didn't think I was doing it. I thought I was just getting some guidance, some help from her. And I also grew up as a Christian Scientist. That's how I was raised originally, but I couldn't do any of that either. I didn't understand why I couldn't heal and why I had so many things going on. And then all of a sudden it started to change. I started to do miraculous things. I'm like curing incurable things. And now I'm 75 and all of that stuff is gone. I mean, allergies went away. I never think about colds or anything like that. I mean, something may come up, but I'm questioning, well, why was that happening? Then to discover that all the work that I was receiving from Wilhelm was energetically aligned. When you come into alignment with who you are, with why you're on this earth, with your authentic self, with your plan, and move through all the trauma, all the things that might be in your past that you are experiencing, you can start to experience healing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is going to heal physically, but mentally you could, because that's where it all occurs, is in your consciousness. Now, we discover different ways of accomplishing that over time. I didn't know that I was going to be a person who would receive that, but I did. And I know that anybody who uses Wilhelm's work, they would have similar experiences. They would have similar results because it is not possible for you to use it and not come into contact with the blocks, the barriers, the things that might be in your life that are preventing you from succeeding, from becoming who you're meant to be in this world, from having the great life or relationship or abundance or whatever it is. I know all those things are true. And I didn't know why I knew it, only to discover that this was all organized. There's organization in our universe. You have a plan. You came into the world with a unique DNA, and it gets activated at different times with all of us. And if you move in the direction of what that is, things start to change. Now, I had trouble with that because I didn't understand what I was creating. And then part of the time I was hiding it because I said people aren't going to believe this. Because I started getting and receiving information that was aligned with what was happening in our world. I knew about all the different events. I knew about wars that would be happening. I knew all the division and all the things that would be happening in the United States and across the world, because it's all energy and it's energetic changes. And we're each contributing in a particular way. And so today, it's still November the 24th, and I was led back to a message that came through in 2020 that would be relevant now. We think things are happening, in a particular way, but they're not. I received information in a completely different way, and when you listen to the channeling session from November 27th of 2023, it'll make a lot more sense for you, and I'll include that. But I needed you to have this understanding because I have discovered something that was different. People haven't seen this before, and I must complete it because it it brings you into this ownership of who you are. It brings you into understanding your unique purpose in this world because you move through all the different blockages that have been there. Now, it took me 36 years to do it, to write it all out, to put it down. And I know everyone's not going to do that, but I'm going to complete it. But I needed to give you the understanding because I know that, and you'll hear in that recording too, I know that any question that any person has, I can answer it. because it's not me. I'm receiving it through Wilhelm, but all of it's been already given to me. And you'll hear in that session that Wilhelm says, yeah, we've given you everything. It's all there. Roger has so much information he could write several books, and that's absolutely true. But I also have the experience. I also have the results, so I do know. But the difficulty is we have this disbelief about what is possible, which is why we keep circling certain things and not getting the result. And I've done that too. What I did was I keep waiting. I keep saying, wait a minute, I know people are going to do this because it's the best thing ever. It's the most extraordinary discovery. I put out so many different documents, and most extraordinary discovery. And people say, no, I'm going to keep struggling. I did that, so I do understand it. But I'm changing. I have to finish. So there are several people who in the group, in the program, who have paid $2,400 to be there. I'm completing all of that work for them. That's what's happening, and then it'll go to the higher rate, the $5,000. But I just wanted to give you all this information because there's no reason for us to not go to the next level of what we can achieve. And I spent my life doing this, and so now that's how I healed. It was moving through every single difficulty and challenge and writing it down and receiving the information and the guidance. And you can see that in all of the messages that I post on any advice. But you'll have to decide that for yourself. Because this, I know anyone who does this, which is why I call it the ultimate personal development system, because that's what it is. There's no question that you would have that this wouldn't answer for you, or that I wouldn't if we're working together. So that's where we are. That's how I healed, though. It was coming into alignment, and it's a different state of consciousness. And I know that that is challenging for many of us to believe, because I couldn't believe that I would be here either. So I understand your difficulty, but I also know what you can achieve. And I'm going to give this to those who want to reach that fullest potential of their lives. So, see you soon. And check all the work. It's here now. And if there might be a spot open where a discounted rate, you might be able to take that. Please understand, you own this forever. This is not something that you just take for a moment. This is something that you continually use over and over again your entire life, because you're always developing something within you. And that's why it's... You know, I see people paying thousands of dollars for something and then still aren't getting the results. This, you have the results, and I guarantee them, because I know. All right, see you soon.